I was introduced as Twitter Madam, so that of course is strange enough. I was named Twitter Madam by one of the police commissioners of Mumbai Police, a very wonderful gentleman, almost like a grandfather, very gentle guy. And the Twitter handle that I chose for myself is Police Wali Public. There's a huge history to it. Possibly, everybody talks about destiny. We know that our life is leading us to some place, but we don't know till it happens. So I just know that my journey was in some way taking me to this Twitter handle. You know, everybody saying that work has become your life is a very common thing. Your work is your life. You don't think out of work is a different thing. But your work and your work identity becoming your entire existence is a different thing altogether. I completely relate to the Twitter handle that I have kept for myself now, which is Police Wali Public, because I've worked so closely with this department for several years in different capacities that I can completely and very proudly, and it's an honor to be anywhere close to them and be associated with them in a way that I have been. I'll give you a slide. I'll just take you through my journey very quickly on what I've done in life so far and how I think that I was being led to this destination by different things that I was engaging in. So I'm from a small town in Ranchi. After Ranchi, till the 12th standard, it was Bihar till the time I turned into an adult. And in Bihar, our school education used to be really good. So till 12th standard, I was in Ranchi. Then I moved on to Delhi to do my graduation in literature. And after that, I came to Bombay to do my journalism from XIC Xavier's. I moved to Bombay. And if you see, I've written Karm Bhumi under Mumbai. I wanted to be a journalist always, by the way. But I chose Delhi over Bombay over Delhi at that point of time because when I say a safe choice for future, it had several connotations at that time because the freedom, the liberty, the freedom that I got to just move around the city at any hour of the day was liberating. It was difficult in Delhi at that time. So I made a choice to stay in Delhi, Mumbai, in spite of knowing that Delhi would have been a better career. And this, I think, was my first understanding of how important a police department is for a particular city. We don't realize, but the police department, in any kind of emergency, who do you think of first? The police. We always think of the police, no matter what. So many times I've done this research with different groups of people, and I ask them that, who do you think of in an emergency? And they say police. I say, what do you do in civic emergencies if a building falls? They say, we still call the police. So we are so closely associated with them, but they have a very thankless job. I can't say that today, but when I started working towards what I was working for about 3 to 4 years back, the story was slightly different. It's also only slightly different now, and I will take your help and help of many more citizens in taking this journey much ahead than this and giving them more credibility, giving them more value for what they do for us. After, so I stayed in Bombay. I started working with a local channel there. It was called CTV. I chose a local channel because I was an outsider in the city, and I wanted to be a very serious journalist. I really wanted to be a serious journalist because when I chose journalism as a career, I wanted to do something for the society. At the time when we were growing up, journalists were really turning the tables, and they were really bringing a lot of accountability in the society. So they were people we looked up to. They were idols for us, and we were really looking up to them. And this looked like a space where I could do something for the society, because since childhood, my parents had always taught me that whatever you do should be in Rashtrahit. My parents speak Hindi. That's why I worked for a Hindi channel for the longest time, because I wanted them to know what their daughter is doing. So they also kind of always told us to be empathetic to people. We used to live amongst tribals in Ranchi. My parents were politicians come social workers who used to work with tribals. We sat, ate with them. They taught me equality. They taught me a lot of things. So they always used to say that do something which is in interest of your nation, over and above us, over and above you. So that is something which has stayed with me throughout my life. So I started working as a journalist in Bombay, worked with a local channel, then shifted to Z News and NDTV, then I moved to newspapers. I have mostly done things reverse in life. All my friends went to print first and then came to television, but I went to television and then I shifted to print. But all of this was great experience, but there's always a turning point in careers. I never thought television news was my first love. I told you that I wanted to be a news reader in Doordarshan. And after leaving television, I came to the print media, and then I got an opportunity to work on a show called Satyamev Jayate, where I got to look at the society much closely, the kind of problems that people are facing across the country, the kind of discrimination, the kind of depravity that everybody is living in. It got me really close to what the people's pain is. And I took a lot of time to decide after Satyamev Jayate that what do I want to do, because I just felt that news was not enough in what I wanted to achieve or what I wanted to do, or maybe I realized that the reach is not that much. I had to go a step forward in being able to bring some kind of resolution. Like for Satyamev Jayate, the stories were coming to some kind of closure. They were being provided some kind of help, something, it came to a logical conclusion. Fortunately for me, I got my break. This was my debut, and I got an opportunity to work with a social media agency, which was taking care of the social media content for Satyamev Jayate. And this was the first time I told them I don't know social media content, I don't understand social media. My Twitter handle at that time, which is my bread and butter now, was made by the newspaper I worked for, and I did not put a single post, I think, during my journalism career. They used to put it, I would retweet it. But with Satyamev Jayate, when I started, they just told me, don't worry, you know content, you've worked on the show, you'll understand, it's not a difficult space. I took a while to understand what I was getting into, but at the end of it, I just understood that social media is nothing, but I just have to write the headline of my story. And you know, rest of it has to be shown creatively in images or whatever. But the message had to be kept very comprehensive and very attractive for people to get the message very soon. So with Satyamev Jayate, for the first time, I got acquainted with the power of social media. That is when I realized that, okay, looks like the conventional media will soon take a backseat, because this medium was really, really impactful, and the kind of reach it had was immense. The enormity, the possibility to interact two ways, like for earlier in the conventional media, what you saw was just one-way communication. Sometimes for a newspaper also, you may write a letter to the editor, but the letter is being taken by the newspaper, not taken by the newspaper, is not in your hands. Even in television, they are just giving news. Only people who have been interviewed are being seen on television. Otherwise, what people think at large was not very clear. So the power of social media really amused me. One particular post of Satyamev Jayate would get such a huge response, and people from not just India, but across the world would come together to help that particular survivor or to share the story of that, a certain subject of the story. It's not a nice word to use for people, but any story that we took up, people would come, they'd share their experiences. I really saw the world coming together on one social media handle. It was a beautiful realization, and I thought that this looks like the next big thing, which can bring about the kind of change in whichever small way I've always thought of doing. So after Satyamev Jayate, I was made the social media head for some of the non-star accounts, but once a journalist, always a journalist. It's very difficult to come out of that space where you want to keep getting involved in some kind of activism. And I was doing corporate accounts, I was doing several telecom industry content and all of that. But I was missing some purpose in my life. I realized this is not helping too many people. It's not even helping possibly one person around me. So it looked a little meaningless to me. That's the time when I went to my old friends, the people in the police department, the Mumbai police, who will be referred to several times in this conversation now. And there was one conversation with a police constable that always stayed with me, because I'm going to mention several instances which made a lot of impact in my life. We were sometimes on night shifts, and we would be guarding, once we were guarding a hospital, covering news at a hospital where a senior politician was admitted after being shot at. And we had to stay there all night because we were waiting for medical updates and all that. So we would go for tea sometimes in the night, move around, and there was a constable once who sat to have tea with us. And very casually he mentioned, and he just said that it's like at this hour in the night, there are only two kind of people who are on the streets of Mumbai. And he said one is we the policemen and one journalist. So that thing stayed with me, that at such odd hours, they're out there to serve us. In Satyamev Jayate, coincidentally, I was also working on an episode of the police reforms, which dealt with the crisis that the police department faces and the kind of limitations that they work in. So then, while I was, and right in the heart of Mumbai, while covering that story, I was coming back from one of the police colonies, and I saw a bunch of children sitting under the lamps on the footpaths and studying. It was a whole group of children sitting and studying. So I just went to talk to them, and I figured out that they were children of policemen who lived in the nearby police lines. And I asked them that, why are you sitting here and studying? And they told me that their houses were small, and it was too crowded because all the families of policemen would live there. There was a lot of noise around, and they could not concentrate. They thought of more peace there, found more peace there, and this was, of course, a little, it opened my eyes a bit. But what I found out next was even more heartwarming, that every child sitting on that footpath said that I would want to become a policeman. Whether a boy or a girl, they said, we want to do what my father and mother are doing, irrespective of the fact that they shared that they don't get time with us. So my understanding was very clear, having worked with them, having written against them, for them, having worked from all perspectives. I knew that this is a group of people serving the people around them very selflessly, and possibly there's something about them that the larger group of Indians don't know, and that is why they are not appreciated and mostly hated. So I went to the senior officers there, and I requested them that why not come on social media. I said, why don't you try and come on Twitter? I had seen Bangalore police on Twitter, and I thought, and they were not doing much at that time. They were only interacting, responding, telling about the traffic situation. There was not much activity, nothing really creative in it. But I saw people loved interacting with them. I saw there was a lot of positive response. People were interacting with the policemen, and they were feeling very empowered with it. So I went to the policemen here, and I went to senior officers and said that I really think that you all should come on Twitter because it's an interacting platform, and it gives you an additional avenue to interact with people. And I think it was just being at the right place in the right time. And they told me that we have been thinking about it, but there were certain concerns, genuine concerns, because they knew that once, like the moment you all were asked, what do you think about the police, I did not hear very positive responses coming. Most of them were a little intimidating. So they thought that, we do not want to kind of jump there without a purpose, and, people may just send a lot of hate messages, lots of things may happen, and we should be able to really help them if we are going on that platform. We did a full research on what are the conversations going on about Mumbai police, and mostly the conversations were neutral, and we realized that people are not in favor of the police yet, totally, because there was nobody to intervene in these conversations. People were having discussions among themselves, and they were coming to conclusions also amongst themselves. So we basically understood that interacting with the citizens will possibly also clear the air and help them understand the policing and their functioning much better. So after a lot of debate, discussions, lots of research, because they were really serious about coming and helping on people on this additional platform. And once we decided to launch, I think there was one question that completely, we decided that, that's the question we are going to start with. And we just asked, the first tweet that Mumbai police had put was, why should police stations be the only place where we meet? And the one doubt which everybody had in their minds during the discussions with the senior officers and our teams was that why do people not come to police stations, right? People are inhibited, they do not want to go to police stations, they don't want to interact with policemen much. And they said mostly it's fear. They think that the policemen are going to harass them, there's going to be a lot of legal processes and all of that. So then that was the time when we decided that why not try humor? Why not do something that people can absolutely not expect from a police department? And getting approval for a thought like that from such senior officers was the first moment of realization that something really amazing is going to happen from that day after. There's a small video of Mumbai police. I would love all of you to see that, because that kind of encapsulates this journey of the police department.
27 December 2015. Honorable Chief Minister Mr. Devendra Fadnavis launched the Twitter handles of Mumbai Police and the Commissioner of Police, Mumbai. The Twitterati welcomed us to the virtual world with some real warmth and encouragement. The list included some very well-known names and faces too. A unique approach for our most unique Mumbai was chosen to communicate. The decision to introduce humor and satire in our awareness campaigns and communication without trivializing any safety issues. Soon, it became a norm for the handle to make headlines. Mumbai Police became the first police Twitter handle to enable 24/7 monitoring and response. The online team worked in close coordination with the offline team in several emergencies, apart from resolving several sensitive complaints by Mumbaikars. Not long for us to have become the most followed police account in the world. We are now 4.6 million followers strong. Before 27 December 2015 and forever after today, our priority will be just one: Mumbai.
नाव सांगा मैडम.
मुंबई.
वडिलांचं नाव.
मुंबई.
माँ का नाम क्या है?
मुंबई.
पति का नाम.
मुंबई.
गावचं नाव.
मुंबई.
बहन का नाम.
मुंबई. मुंबई. मुंबई.
Jai Hind.
So this is basically not what only Mumbai police was doing. This is basically what police departments across the country has been doing it for several years. Maybe we have never noticed it, and Mumbai police kind of sent a benchmark, and I'm glad, and I feel really proud, whether I'm working with them, not working with them, whether my team is associated with them, not associated with them. The way police departments across the country are using social media to break the ice with citizens is remarkable, and the way citizens look at their police now and feel this accessibility to the police department is also unprecedented, and it's really heartwarming. This video still gives me goosebumps whenever I watch it, though I made it a while ago. But these are some of the questions that were, these were some of the targets that we had achieved with it. People understood that police is accessible. A lot of misconceptions, a lot of myth about the police was cleared. My request to each one of you here is please be a part of the governing system. Contribute in any little way you can. Go to the crisis scenes. You are all going to be doctors. You all were seen playing a very crucial role in all sorts of flood situations in Maharashtra that have happened. So just assume the role that you like and take up the responsibility. Ask difficult questions to yourself and make this world a better place to live. Thank you so much.